While many associate the modern Bush family with Texas oil money, the truth of their investment is a bit more diverse. In fact, according to ESPN, the core of George W. Bush's fortune seems to have come from his investment in a new stadium for the Texas Rangers baseball team. His $606,302 investment turned into $14.9 million when the team was sold in 1998. It's often understood that succeeding in United States politics requires quite a lot of money and power. Those two forces are very frequently intertwined, with one helping the other, garnering important political donors or using business partnerships to gain important friends and keep one's political star on the rise. Few modern political dynasties understand this more than the Bushes. Though, as Town and Country quotes, the family would have you believe that their collective fortunes have been made solely through smart management and hard work. Soft power, of the sort that often brings about change through making friends and wielding influence, is also a significant part of the equation. For later generations, the mere fact of their family name also appears to have gotten them into some pretty key positions. From the Skull and Bones secret society at Yale, to other Ivy League institutions, to lucrative jobs, to some canny financial circles, the story of the family money is ultimately a pretty complicated financial web, but one that served descendants pretty well regardless. Here's how the Bush family really got so rich. It all begins with a man named Samuel Prescott Bush. According to the New York Times, Bush was born in October 1864 in New Jersey. Things seemed pretty humdrum in his life for a couple of decades until young Bush graduated from the Stevens Institute of Technology in 1884. According to Stevens, he eventually managed to land a job in the railroad industry. Bush kept on moving up, becoming president of the Buckeye Steel Castings Company in the early 1900s. Undramatic as that may sound, this placed him in a nice position. He was taking over from Frank Rockefeller, brother of the notorious industrialist John D. Rockefeller. It didn't hurt that his company also produced parts for the booming railroad industry, helping Bush and his associates to rake in the cash. Ultimately, Bush went all the way to the top and became the president of Buckeye, a position he occupied until 1928, as the New York Times reports. He also secured spots in a number of key boards and committees, including the President's Committee for Unemployment Relief, where he was appointed by President Herbert Hoover. Though his name may not necessarily be recognized today, it's clear that Bush was the patriarch who set the stage for his descendants' later approach to business, politics, and influence. After he became a business magnate, Samuel P. Bush buddied up with some seriously powerful people like the Rockefellers, who were involved with the steel company business that supplied the nation's railroads. His connections also gave him entry into political circles like President Herbert Hoover's committees and various manufacturing boards via Stevens Institute of Technology. Like so many other magnates, industrialists, and political power players then and now, Bush clearly understand that who you know really matters. The modern-day Bush family clearly understands this very well indeed. Today, Bush partners and family friends have included some pretty eye-catching names, as the Los Angeles Times reports. There's Kenneth L. Lay of Enron infamy, who turned around and used his own Bush family associations to snag some plum jobs for the administration of President George H.W. Bush. Other names may seem inconsequential, but a look into the finances and activities of family friends like T. Boone Pickens and Henry Kravis show that the Bushes run in some high-flying financial circles. As if attending an Ivy League school wasn't enough, Prescott Bush and some of his Yale-attending descendants were also part of Skull and Bones, an exclusive secret society whose members have gone on to seriously lucrative and powerful positions in businesses and governments. Though the name seems theatrical, even downright goofy in its cloak and dagger image, Skull and Bones is something to be reckoned with. According to Britannica, it began in 1832 and is just one of numerous secret societies at Yale. And like so many secret societies, the exact nature of what happens in the Skull and Bones building, called the Tomb, of course, is kept secret. However, its members include a who's who of political power and influence. Besides Prescott Bush, his son and grandson, the future presidents George H.W. Bush and George W. Bush, were also Bonesmen, as members often called themselves. So too was President William Howard Taft, his father Alphonso Taft, and Secretary of State John Kerry, according to the New England Historical Society. Though it's not certain what goes on in the meetings, it's clear that Skull and Bones has produced some very powerful, rich figures in American society who like to stay connected even after graduation. George H.W. Bush's eldest son, George W. Bush, started off much like his own father. According to the Washington Post, he too attended Yale and later went to Harvard Business School. Shortly thereafter, George W. Bush also went into the oil industry, creating Arbusto Energy Inc. in 1977. Yet Arbusto didn't actually start doing anything until 1979. In the interim, George W. had attempted and failed to run for Congress. During his campaign, Arbusto apparently came up as a way to bolster his standing. Once it started for real, Arbusto struggled. The company was propped up by mergers and investments from friends and family, some of whom were attracted by the Bush name, his family's political connections, and the Yale and Harvard lines on his resume. Yet even then, Arbusto produced disappointing returns, with most investors walking away with much lighter wallets than they had started. Yet George W. himself had painted the experience in rosier terms, claiming that he was building up his income through reliability, honesty, and hard work. Though he admitted that "I'm not going to pretend it was any huge success at the time," via the Washington Post. If you were to meet George W. Bush today, he probably wouldn't want to chat about a company called Harkin Energy. Though he's been officially cleared of any wrongdoing, the money the former president made from his stock in the company has remained an awkward point in his financial history. In June 1990, reports CNN, Bush sold over 200,000 shares of Harkin Energy Company, earning nearly $850,000. Bush was also on Harkin's board of directors at the time. 2 months later, Harkin reported large losses that surprised many investors. Accusations allege that Bush took part in insider trading, where he was given a heads up to sell the stock before other shareholders would have known about Harkin's issues. This led to an investigation by the Securities and Exchange Commissions. According to the Washington Post, though, Bush was exonerated after little evidence was found connecting him with any wrongdoing. Some still maintain that he may have conveniently forgotten to tell investigators all the details of his dealings with Harkin. There's the fact that Bush benefited from the company's financial jiggery-pokery, which included an earlier fake sale to boost its standings, and Bush's own lags in filing paperwork. Whether Bush knew exactly what was going on or he was an innocent man who simply got lucky is unclear. Either way, he was able to keep his profits and point to the exoneration when it had came up during his presidency. While many associate the modern Bush family with Texas oil money, the truth of their investments is a bit more diverse. In fact, according to ESPN, the core of George W. Bush's fortunes seem to come from his investments in a new stadium for the Texas Rangers baseball team. His $606,302 investment turned into $14.9 million when the team was sold in 1998. That was all from us today for this video, folks. See you in the next one.